So this is one actual secret that I've never shared across any of my photos or videos or content across social media in general. And the secret to taking better board game photos is welcome back to Revamped, a podcast designed to help you grow as a photographer, videographer, content creator overall, while also introducing some topics around board gaming and tech. For today's topic, I've never received this many votes before on my Instagram polls. It was one of the hottest polls that I've received. And the topic is that one photography secret that's going to bring your board game photos to the next level right now. I can literally hear your heartbeat and your mind's racing as you're waiting to hear the answer to this. Okay, I'll stop playing around now. The answer is the wow factor. And I'm gonna spend the entire episode explaining it. Reflecting back, this is what's gotten me to take the photos that I can today. And I want you to be able to utilize it for yourself, for your own photography, and bring up your content to the next level as well. Why? Because we're all here as a team. We're all here to improve together, to learn together, to grow as a team. That's why I never cared to withhold knowledge, ever. If you wanna learn something, let me know and I'll get back to you. You've seen it. If you ask me questions, boom, you get an answer, or you get a video, or some kind of way to help you progress. That's why I've always said since day one, when I grow, you will too. So before I take any kind of board game photo, I go through a 3-step process that I really want you to understand, and it's going to 100% make you a better photographer. First up, I play the game. I don't even bother taking any kind of photos until I play the game fully. If it's for a serious shoot, if I'm just kind of playing around, then yeah, of course I'll just take photos with what I have. But if it's for client work, or if it's for an important video coming up, or for like 95% of my videos, then I will 100% play the game. Now, the reason why it's so important to play the game is because A, it immerses you into the theme. It is so important to really grasp your mind around understanding what the theme is behind the game. When you understand theme, it gives you direction for the photo, and also allows you to think about different items you can bring into the shoot, start ordering different things and finding different props that you can gather in order to make the photo that much better. It also helps you think about the environment that you want to stage this photo in. Is it going to be a forest? Is it going to be a lake? Is it going to be a cave? Is it going to be in your backyard? Can you make something at home in your studio office? These are all majorly important factors that all stem from understanding how the game plays out. Almost all the ideas that I get always stem from playing the game, especially like the mechanics and how different characters are interacting with each other on the board. As a side note, especially for your clients, is for sure a sign of respect, right? If you're just gonna take photos without even understanding the game or playing it, and if you're not gonna spend a little bit of time to appreciate what all these other creators have put their heart and soul in as well, arguably, I think it's gonna show in your photos. Secondly, I think about the wow factor. This is the factor that's going to make people instantly stop scrolling in their Instagram feed and just make people want to buy your photos and hang their photos in their home, put it on a freaking mural, the front cover of a magazine. It is your showstopper. So if you want to instantly make your board game photos better, stop and think about your wow factor. Plan it out. And let me give you a few examples. So one I talked about in the video that came out yesterday was from Chai, and that was when I dropped the strawberry tokens onto a cup of tea that was splashing, and there was a pool in the background. So all of this was wrapping around summer colors and just enjoying a nice cold cup of strawberry iced tea. I could have easily just set the tokens right on top of the tea glass, taken the photo, called it a day. That could have been a simple 5-second staging photo. But instead, I spent another hour and a half trying to get the perfect splash, or splash that I was at least okay with in determining the final photo. I dropped the tokens again and again and again. I stopped when I landed enough items in focus, when the splashes were just right and in frame, and when it looked as appetizing as possible. If I were to just set it without any kind of splash whatsoever, what's missing is the hook. This is the reason why behind the scenes photo shoots are so popular nowadays. It's because people are interested in seeing how you created that particular photo. If people are interested in how you created a photo, then your process in creating the photo itself was probably very complicated, and it's something that not many others know how to create, which is why people are creating those behind the scenes shoots, right? They're trying to show you how they managed to make that certain photo. Freezing time, I would say, is the major wow factor that I used in this specific photo of Chai. It's one major factor I love to capitalize on across my photos. Second example, I did one with the 3 dragons from Fuji Coral. So in this photo, I had 3 green dragons at the bottom of a fish tank, and then I poured some acrylic paint into a syringe, a disposable syringe, and took the syringe right above the middle dragon, pushed it out, and did this like 4 or 5 times. Mind you, you only have one shot at this because once all the acrylic kind of dissolves, you can't just do it again because now all the water is murky and textures are all over your dragons and it just looks really bad. So in order for you to recreate this again and again, you have to wash out the tank every single time. And I did this 5 times before I came up with the photo that I was happy with. The wow factor here, I would say, are abstract shapes. You can't mold or shape smoke the way you want to. And even if this is acrylic paint, it looks like smoke, right? And in water, it acts like smoke too because it gives that very cloudy shape. The wow factor here is seeing how all this paint is just wrapping around the dragons. There's a nice layer at the very bottom in order to get that cloudy, misty layer at the very bottom. And you just see one prominent set of clouds, quote clouds, that are just about to fall onto the middle dragon. And the other 3 dragons, you have all this kind of paint that's wrapped around them. Ultimately, there is one major leading line, which is all that cloud of smoke right in the center, and it goes down straight to the middle dragon. So there's this leading line from the top and your eyes just kind of trail down. They go towards the bottom. And then when you see that payoff in the end, the 3 dragons, it just ultimately becomes a wow factor. All of it just wraps around really nicely together. You don't see photos like this taken for miniatures, right? At the same time, it's not random. It's very planned. I'm not taking a random troll miniature and then putting smoke over it, right? Because that would make no sense. But because these are all dragons, fire, smoke, all of that makes sense. They're all thematically tied together. That's why I'm saying you have to play the game. You have to understand the game because this is going to give you all of these ideas. And I could have taken a dragon, put him on a table, stick a solid background or maybe the box cover behind him and call it a day. But again, where's the wow factor in that, right? Is that something that you want to hang on your wall? I don't know. Up to you. If you want to get better, if you want to improve as a photographer, you have to constantly push yourself and think about introducing new techniques and reasons why you're introducing the technique as well. Because what if you would take a smoke bomb and put it behind a building in suburbia? Suburbia is a game that's all about city development. Why would you do a smoke bomb around city development? You know, so it's questions like that, right? You're not just doing smoke for fun. There's reason and intention behind your theme and what you're tying into your photos. So to summarize everything that we have so far and keep everything as simple as possible, number 1, play the game, understand it, learn the theme, let those ideas start sitting in your head. Number 2, plan your wow factor. What is going to hook your audience? What is going to grab their attention? What is going to make people stop and stare at your photo, especially in this day and age when information is just consumed tenfold faster than it used to be? Now, when I say this, I don't necessarily mean that you have to make art based on what other people want from you. I say that to provide an initial motivation for you to create your photo in order to distinguish your photography, define your style, and just create something unique. And those are just questions that you have to ask yourself. You don't necessarily have to think about it literally if you don't want to. If that is something that deprives you from the whole artwork and creativity process. Ultimately, as creatives, I think we strive for some kind of feedback, which is funny because I never thought I was that type of person until I became a quote creative. But you like sharing your artwork, right? There's the reason why we have social media, why we have Instagram, why we have YouTube. We make things, it makes us happy, and we want to show people too. But ultimately, define the showstopper in your own terms. Now, this leads me to the final step of the entire process, and that is step 3, which is editing. So for some reason, particularly in the board game niche, editing is somewhat frowned upon. And I'll be honest, I don't really get that. I don't know why. Maybe if like the entire photo is fake from Photoshop, then I get it. I get the critique behind that. But the skills that you learn to make effects in camera, it's the same thing as editing photos in Lightroom, right? It's still a skill that you have to learn. So editing your photos in the beginning for sure is something that I used to plan because I wasn't sure how I can visualize everything. But because I've edited so many photos and because I've taken so many, I can really see and visualize my edit during the in-camera shot. But the reason why editing is part of this kind of trifold secret is because it really brings life to your photos. Sometimes you have this very dark, dreary, unclear photo, but then all of a sudden in the edit, you can bring all of that back to life using dehaze and exposure and the tone curve. It's like, well, I didn't even imagine like that was how the photo could have looked like, right? It revives photos and also amplifies and enhances the photos you have already. Now, I do plan to do way more editing tutorials on YouTube, but for now in this podcast, I at least wanted to mention the third piece of the puzzle. After you play the game and plan your wow factor and taking the shot, editing is like that final cherry on top, or potentially the whole icing on the cake. Well, actually think about it, I think it works because imagine the photo creating process is baking a cake. You have this entire cake that you have put all the ingredients in, you've baked it, and now you have all these layers stacked upon each other. Editing is like adding all that icing and decorations and cherry on top. assuming you're not doing a naked cake. But even then, they still add a couple of things on top. Think about what colors you're trying to match in your edit. Think about what you can and cannot bring back in the shadows. Think about what you want to contrast in your edit. For example, in this photo that I just took, a fort of ghosts inside this fort or mini house. The contrast I wanted was the teal or the green in the card itself versus the house that he staged in. So those are edits that I think of when I'm doing the shoot as well. Like taking the shot, I knew that I wanted to provide a very stark contrast when I'm editing a photo. But that doesn't always happen because sometimes when you are editing a photo, maybe you want to lighten the contrast so you get more brightness across the entire photo. What it comes down to is being able to visualize the edit. And that is my ultimate secret in photography, for now at least, reflecting back on how I take photos. But I just wanted to share with you not only my process, but just giving you the tools you need so you can emulate and apply this process to your own work. If you have any particular questions, please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this particular subject. If you found this quote secret helpful, let me know and tag me across social media. I would love to see the photos that you guys come up with. But until then, I will see you all in the August Kickstarter highlights. Have a wonderful day and I will see you all very soon.